Who holds the remote control for your mood? Think about it for a second. This morning, when you woke up, you were your baseline. You were in control. But then what happened? You grabbed your phone. You scrolled. You saw a post. Friends at a dinner you weren't invited to. And just like that, click. Someone else's thumb posting a photo changed your emotional channel from calm to anxious and rejected. You got in your car. You were on your way to work, listening to music, in your own world. A driver aggressively cut you off, almost clipping your bumper, and laid on their horn. Click. A total stranger, someone you will never see again, just snatched the remote, plunging you into a channel of white-hot rage and frustration that lasted for the next 20 minutes. You got to work. You sat in a team meeting. Your boss praised a colleague for the success of a project you also poured 60 hours into. They didn't mention your name. Click. Your boss just switched you to a program of seething resentment, inadequacy, and crippling self-doubt. This is the life of the person who takes things personally. Your emotional state, your peace of mind, your very sense of self-worth are not your own. You have, without realizing it, handed the remote control for your life to everyone you interact with, your colleagues, your partner, your family, and even anonymous strangers on the internet. You live in a state of constant, exhausting reactivity. You are a puppet, and the world is pulling your strings. You are here listening to this because you are tired of the dance. You are tired of being jerked around by every stray comment, every vague email, every shift in tone, every perceived slight. You are exhausted by the emotional whiplash of your days, feeling proud one moment and utterly humiliated the next, all because of a look from someone in the elevator. You've probably told yourself this is just part of being a caring person. I'm just empathetic. I'm highly sensitive. I just feel things deeply. Let's reframe that. You do feel things deeply, but what you are feeling isn't empathy. It's injury. This is not a personality trait. It is a cognitive habit. It is a maladaptive survival response. And it is the single most destructive, energy-draining pattern in your life. You believe this high alert status keeps you aware. But let's be honest, does it truly help you navigate the world? Or does it simply turn you into the most wounded, defensive, and volatile person in the room? You are not living in a state of connection. You are living in a state of chronic self-defense. You are trapped in an invisible prison, one of your own making. The bars are forged from a single, deeply flawed belief that everything that happens around you is a direct statement about you. This is the prison of personalization. And in this audiobook, I am going to show you, step by step, how to walk free. Before you can escape, you must first tour the facility. You have to understand why it feels so real, so automatic, and what it's physically doing to your body. The cost is not just feeling bad. The cost is biological, and it is profound. Let's look at the science of what happens. Go back to that moment in traffic. The car cuts you off, the horn blares. In less than a nanosecond, before your thinking brain can even process what happened, your ancient threat detection system takes over. This system is run by a tiny almond-shaped part of your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is your brain's smoke detector. It is fast, primitive, and binary. It only has one job: to scream threat or safe. And in that moment, it screamed threat. Why? Because to your ancient survival-wired brain, that sudden, aggressive, confrontational event was interpreted as an attack, a challenge, a direct threat to your status and safety. Once the amygdala pulls that alarm, your rational, logical prefrontal cortex, the you that is calm and makes good decisions, is knocked offline. It's like the power has been cut to the CEO's office. Your body is now being run by its emergency response crew. The adrenal glands, obeying the amygdala's panic signal, instantly flood your bloodstream with a potent cocktail of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. This is the fight or flight response. It is a biological masterpiece designed to save your life. Your heart rate skyrockets, pumping blood to your limbs. Your breathing becomes rapid and shallow. Sugar is dumped into your system for quick energy. Your muscles in your neck, shoulders, and jaw clench, preparing for impact. Your pupils dilate. Your digestion stops. Your immune system is suppressed. Every ounce of your biological resources is diverted for one purpose: to fight this threat or to flee from it. 5 million years ago, if a saber-toothed tiger burst from the bushes, this response is what saved your ancestors. But today, you are sitting in a 2-ton metal box, staring at the bumper of another 2-ton metal box. You cannot fight. You cannot flee. So you just sit there, stewing. You are a supercar engine redlining in neutral, flooding your own system with corrosive chemicals. You arrive at the office, and that cortisol is still buzzing through you. You feel agitated, jumpy, and irritable. And for what? For a person you will never see again. That's an acute, obvious example. But the real damage comes from the chronic state. The boss who doesn't praise you. The email with a neutral tone. The friend who doesn't text back. Click, click, click. Each one is a microdose of cortisol. Each one is a mini threat that pulls that same alarm just a little more quietly. The result is that you are living in a chronic, low-grade state of fight or flight. You are marinating in your own stress hormones 24/7. That persistent, vague anxiety you feel? That's the cortisol. That brain fog and inability to concentrate? That's your prefrontal cortex being constantly starved of resources. That exhaustion at the end of the day, that feeling of being wired but tired, that inability to get deep, restorative sleep, that is the physical, biological price you pay for living inside the prison of personalization. This is not a sustainable way to live. It is a malfunction, and it is burning you out. So, if it's so destructive, why do we do it? The biology explains the reaction, but not the reason. The reason is psychological. It's rooted in a profound misunderstanding of the world. We take things personally because we operate from the unconscious belief that we are the main character in everyone's movie. It's not arrogance. In fact, it's often the opposite. It is a form of anxious self-centeredness. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. We are each the absolute center of our own universe. Our thoughts, our feelings, our insecurities, our joys, our pains are in vivid, high-definition surround sound. Because our own inner world is so overwhelmingly loud to us, we make a critical false assumption that it must be just as loud to everyone else. We fundamentally believe that a giant spotlight follows us around, illuminating our every action, our every word, and our every flaw for a rapt, judging audience. Think about the last time you had to speak in a meeting and you stumbled over a word. You felt a hot flush of embarrassment. For the next 10 minutes, you were convinced that everyone in that room was thinking about your mistake. You were certain they were cringing, thinking you were incompetent. Here is the liberating, revolutionary truth. Nobody was thinking about you. They weren't. They were thinking about what they were going to say next. They were worried about a deadline they had. They were mentally making a grocery list. They were 100% absorbed in their own movie, in which your tiny stumble was, at most, a blip in the background noise. The spotlight effect is the engine of personalization. It is the flawed software that creates the reaction. Let's re-examine our scenarios through this new lens. The friends who posted a dinner photo? The spotlight effect convinced you that their gathering was a statement about your absence. The reality? It had nothing to do with you. It was just a Tuesday. Jane was in town, Mark was free, it was spontaneous. There was no secret meeting to exclude you. They were just living their lives. The boss who praised your colleague and not you? The spotlight effect convinced you this was a deliberate, coded message about your failure. The reality? Your boss was probably stressed, rushing, and mentioned the first name that came to mind. Or perhaps that colleague needed a public win for morale. Or, most likely, your boss is just as wrapped up in their own anxieties and simply forgot. It was not a calculated referendum on your worth. This is the central illusion. We believe the world is constantly sending us signals, but the world is not sending signals. The world is just happening. We are the ones who twist this neutral, random data into a painful, personal story. So, what is the solution? If you've been struggling with this, you've already tried the obvious. You've tried to just grow a thicker skin. You've tried to stop caring. You've tried to let it go. How has that worked? It hasn't, because these are strategies of suppression, not freedom. Trying to grow a thicker skin is like building a giant fortress around yourself. You put up stone walls, a moat, and battlements. And yes, maybe it keeps some of the insults out, but a fortress is a prison. You can't get out, and nothing good can get in. You block the criticism, but you also block the connection. You block the pain, but you also block the joy. You block the vulnerability required for real relationships. You become safe, but you are also desperately, profoundly alone. Numbness is not strength. That is not liberation. That is just solitary confinement. The true solution is not to build thicker walls. The solution is to rewire the very foundation of your brain. The solution is to dismantle the spotlight effect. The solution is to train your amygdala to calm its hair trigger response. The solution is to upgrade your brain's operating system from one of reaction to one of objective choice. And that is what we are here to do. This audiobook will hand you a new mental toolkit. We will call it the impersonal framework. This framework is built on proven psychological tools and a revolutionary biological truth. That truth is neuroplasticity. Your brain is not fixed. It is not etched in stone. It is plastic. It is designed to be changed, molded, and rewired by your experiences and your thoughts. The neural pathway that connects a vague email to a cortisol flood is a pathway you learned. It is a mental habit, carved deep like a groove in a record. But you can lift the needle. You can, with conscious, consistent practice, carve new grooves. You can build new, high-speed neural pathways that connect a vague email to curiosity, or even calm. You can physically change your brain's structure to make objectivity your new default. This is not a book of empty platitudes. This is a practical, science-based manual for emotional liberation. I am not going to ask you to just stop caring. I am going to show you how to intercept the biological reaction. I am not going to ask you to be positive. I am going to give you the mental scripts to challenge and rewrite the false stories you tell yourself. I want you to pause and truly feel what that new life would be like. Imagine it. You see that dinner post on social media. You feel a brief ping, but that's it. Your immediate, automatic thought is, looks fun, glad they had a good time. And you keep scrolling. The remote is still in your hand. Imagine your boss critiques your work, and instead of your shields flying up, instead of your stomach dropping, you simply listen. You are not a child being scolded. You are a professional gathering data. You parse the feedback, extract the useful, discard the noise, and say, okay, I can action that. Your worth is intact. Imagine reclaiming all that energy you've been leaking, all that mental and emotional power you've been wasting on defending your ego, fighting imaginary battles, and replaying conversations that don't matter. Imagine taking all that power and aiming it like a laser at your goals, at your purpose, at your relationships, at your life. This is not a fantasy. This is your potential. The power of not taking things personally is not the power to be cold or distant. It is the power to be so internally anchored, so self-validated, and so objective that you can finally engage with the world with genuine warmth, true confidence, and an unbreakable core. You are not a puppet. It's time to cut the strings. It's time to take back the remote. Let's begin. Why does a word, an idea, feel like a physical punch? You're in a team meeting. You've just finished a presentation you spent 2 weeks on. You're proud of it. It's solid, it's well-researched, and you've just nailed the delivery. You look to your team for feedback. And a coworker, let's call him David, leans back in his chair, crosses his arms, and says, "I don't know, it's just a little basic. I'm not sure it solves the real problem." Basic. The word hangs in the air. And instantly, before you can even register a conscious thought, it happens. A hot, prickly flush floods your face and neck. Your chest tightens, as if a strap has been cinched around it. Your stomach plummets, your jaw clenches, and you can feel the defensive, acidic words leaping to your lips. What do you mean, basic? If you'd actually read the data. Stop. Let's just pause right there. What is this? What is this violent, physical reaction? David didn't throw anything at you. He didn't harm you. He didn't physically threaten you or your family. He used air, vibrated through his vocal cords to form an opinion. So why is your body reacting like it's just been attacked by a predator? Why is a simple, subjective, 10-point font word triggering a full-scale, code-red biological meltdown? If you ever want to break free from the prison of personalization, you must first understand this. The reaction you just had is not a failure of your character. It is not you being weak or too sensitive. It is a core feature of your brain's ancient, hardwired survival system. You are not broken. You are simply running ancient software on a modern problem. And in this chapter, we are going to look under the hood. Welcome to your amygdala. Deep in the most primitive, reptilian part of your brain, nestled in the temporal lobe, are 2 tiny, almond-shaped clusters of neurons. This is your amygdala. It is not the thinking part of your brain. It is the reacting part. It is your brain's 24/7, high-alert emotional smoke detector. It has one job and one job only: to constantly scan your environment, both external and internal, and answer a single, binary question. Is this a threat to my survival? It is designed for speed, not accuracy. It is a hair trigger. And when it senses a threat, it pulls a biological fire alarm that hijacks your entire nervous system. This is the amygdala hijack we talked about. The flood of cortisol, the racing heart, the fight or flight response. But here is the piece of the puzzle you are missing. Here is the secret that will change how you see yourself forever. What is the amygdala's #1 most feared survival-level threat? Is it a lion, a snake, a physical attack? No. The single greatest threat to your ancient tribal brain is social rejection. Let's travel back 50,000 years. You are living on the savannah with a small tribe of hunter-gatherers. Your entire life depends on this group. They are your protection from predators. They are your collaborators in hunting. They are your shared warmth and shelter. What happens if you are basic? What happens if you are not contributing? What happens if you are judged, criticized, and found wanting by the group? You get cast out. And on the savannah, to be cast out is to die. You will be alone, without protection, without food, without fire. You will be dead by morning. Therefore, your brain evolved a critical survival mechanism. It encoded social rejection as physical pain. This is not a metaphor. This is a neurological fact. Neuroscientists using fMRI scanners have discovered that the exact same neural circuits that light up when you feel physical pain, like breaking your leg or burning your hand, also light up when you experience social rejection. When David called your presentation basic, your brain did not interpret it as an opinion or data. Your brain, your ancient 50,000-year-old software, interpreted it as a direct threat to your membership in the tribe. It interpreted it as a public judgment that you are not good enough. It interpreted it as the first step toward being cast out, which, to your amygdala, means death. David's word didn't just hurt your feelings. It triggered your brain's physical pain network. The hot flush? That's adrenaline. The tight chest? That's your muscles tensing for a fight. The defensiveness? That is your primal, desperate attempt to fight back against the tribe member who is trying to lower your status and get you kicked out of the cave. This is the central mismatch of your modern life. Your brain's hardware is ancient. It is designed to survive on the savannah. But your reality is a conference room. It's a Slack channel. It's a text message. Your amygdala, your faithful, primitive sentinel, is still scanning for saber-toothed tigers and tribal rejection. But it's finding them everywhere. A critical email from your boss? Tribal rejection. Panic. A vague text from your partner? Abandonment. Panic. Being left out of a group photo on social media? Ostracism. Panic. A coworker's sarcastic tone? A challenge to your status. Panic. Your amygdala is doing its job perfectly. It is trying with all its might to save you from what it believes is a life or death situation. The problem is, its data is 50,000 years out of date. David's comment is not a death sentence. It is not even a threat. It is just David. So, what do? We can't remove our amygdala. We wouldn't want to. It's still what makes you pull your hand back from a hot stove. It's still what makes you hit the brakes when a car stops short. You don't want to kill the sentinel. You just need to train it. You need to promote it. You need to give it a new boss. And that new boss is your prefrontal cortex, or PFC. If the amygdala is the frantic, hair-trigger smoke detector in the basement, the PFC is the wise, calm building manager on the top floor. It's the you think of as you. The PFC is the most modern, most evolved part of your brain, located right behind your forehead. It is the seat of logic, rational thought, long-term planning, and, most importantly, emotional regulation. The PFC is what understands that David is just David. The PFC is what knows you are not going to die. The PFC is what can analyze the word basic and think, is that true? Is there data I missed? Or is David just having a bad day? Here is the entire problem, summed up in a single biological race. The amygdala is faster than the PFC. The amygdala gets the signal first. It is hardwired for speed. It has to be. The PFC is slower. It takes a few extra milliseconds for the signal to travel to the logical CEO of your brain. Your entire reactive life, your entire pattern of taking things personally, is happening in that tiny fractional gap between the amygdala's alarm and the PFC's activation. The amygdala hijacks the system before the CEO can even get to the office. So, the solution is not to stop the amygdala from firing. You can't. It's too fast. The solution is to create a pause. The solution is to build a circuit breaker that interrupts the hijack, stops the signal from cascading into a full-blown cortisol flood, and buys time for your PFC to come online and take control. This is your first, most powerful tool. I call it pause and label. It is a two-step technique that you will practice until it becomes your new automatic response. It is the very first step in carving that new neural pathway we talked about. Let's go back to the meeting. David, it just seems a little basic. The hijack, your old self. Step 1, amygdala fires. Threat, attack, rejection. Step 2, cortisol floods. Your face is hot, your chest is tight. Step 3, you react. Well, actually, David, if you had looked at the data. Result, you look defensive. David doubles down. The meeting is derailed. You've damaged your professional reputation. You go back to your desk and leak energy for the next 4 hours, replaying the encounter, fuming and feeling humiliated. You have let David and his one simple word own you. Now, let's run the scene again with your new tool. The pause and label, your new self. David, it just seems a little basic. Step 1, the amygdala fires. You feel it, the hot flush, the tight chest, the urge to snap. This is the critical moment. Step 2, The pause. Instead of obeying the urge, you do nothing. You simply hold eye contact with David. And you take one silent, conscious, deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. This is not a passive act. This is an act of war. This 1 2-second breath is the circuit breaker. It is you consciously interrupting the hijack. This is the space you are creating. You are literally, biologically, buying time for the signal to get from the basement sentinel to the top floor CEO. Step 3. The label. As you are breathing, you are now labeling what is happening in your mind. You become a scientist, an objective observer of your own internal state. Your internal monologue sounds like this. Okay, that's the amygdala. That's a social threat response. I am feeling the emotion of defensiveness. It's a hot, tight feeling in my chest. This is my brain mistaking basic for death. What have you just done? By labeling the feeling, by observing it instead of becoming it, you have done something miraculous. You have biologically changed where the activity is happening in your brain. The second you say, I am feeling defensiveness, you have shifted the power from the emotional reactive amygdala to the observational, logical prefrontal cortex. Your CEO is now online. The hijack has been stopped. The cortisol flood has been cut off at the source. Step 4. Your new response. Now your PFC is in control. It assesses the situation logically. PFC brain. Okay, that's done. But I'm not in danger. David might be trying to look smart. He might have a valid point. He might just be an ass. Doesn't matter. The goal here is not to win the argument. The goal is to be the most professional, competent person in the room. You, from your PFC, say calmly, interesting. Tell me more. What alternative approach were you thinking of? Or, I appreciate that perspective, David. I chose this approach for its reliability and scalability. Can you be more specific about what you feel is missing? Do you see the difference? Do you feel the difference? In the first scenario, you were the puppet. Your amygdala was the master. In the second scenario, you were the master. You observed your amygdala, thanked it for the alarm, and put your rational mind in charge. This is the power of understanding your biology. Your reactivity is not you. It is a primitive, automatic, and trainable system inside you. For years, you have been a victim of this system. You have been unconsciously letting a 50,000-year-old piece of software run your life, but not anymore. The pause and label technique is your first tool for rewriting that code. Your homework until our next chapter is to practice this in low-stakes situations. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when you get an annoying email, when your partner leaves their dishes in the sink. Feel the hijack. Pause. Take the breath. Label the emotion. This is annoyance. This is my amygdala firing. This is a stress response. Watch what happens. Feel the power shift. Feel the hijack fail. You have just learned to take your hand off the hot stove of reactivity. You've stopped the burn before it happens. This is the first step. You've learned why you react and how to intercept the biological mechanism. But the hijack has a second wave. It's not just the feeling. It's the story you tell yourself after the feeling. What happens when you go back to your desk and your brain starts whispering, David is right. I am basic. I'm an imposter. I'm going to be found out. That is the next layer of the prison. And in our next chapter, we are going to learn how to tear that layer down too. In the last chapter, we confronted the biological hijack. We identified the amygdala as the primitive alarm that floods your body with cortisol, mistaking a critical comment for a saber-toothed tiger. We learned to use the pause and label technique to create a circuit breaker, stopping that initial violent physical reaction. But let's be honest, that's only half the battle. For most of us, the real damage isn't done in the first 5 seconds. The real suffering doesn't come from the hot flush of adrenaline. The real suffering comes from the story we tell ourselves for the next 5 hours. Let's go back to a scenario. You're in a one-on-one meeting with your boss. You're pitching an idea you are passionate about. You're hitting your stride, laying out the data, and you look up for a reaction. And your boss is looking at her watch. Just a glance, quick, maybe 2 seconds. And then it begins. The amygdala fires, sure. You feel a small jolt of, uh-oh, but then the other part of your brain kicks in. The storyteller, the narrator, and it begins to write a script. She's bored. She's looking at her watch. She hates this idea. She thinks I'm wasting her time. I knew this was stupid. I've completely misread the room. She probably thinks I'm incompetent. She's definitely reconsidering my lead role on the new project. I've blown it. I'm going to be sidelined. I'm never going to get that promotion. I'm probably on the next layoff list. In the span of 30 seconds, your brain has authored a devastating fan fiction that takes you from "my boss glanced at her watch" to "I am going to be unemployed." You finish your presentation, but you're hollowed out. Your confidence is shattered. You walk out of that room not with relief, but with a crushing sense of dread. You spend the rest of the day in a fog of anxiety, replaying that one tiny 2-second event, each time adding more detail to your story of failure. Let's stop, and let's be radically honest. What was the fact? The fact is, your boss's eyes moved from your face to her wrist. That is it. That is the sum total of the objective data you received. What was the story? The story was, I am a failure and my career is over. The fact did not cause your pain. The story caused your pain. The fact did not flood your body with anxiety. The story did. This is the central secret of why you take things personally. It is not the event that breaks you. It is the meaning your mind assigns to it. You are not a victim of the world. You are a victim of the stories you tell yourself about the world. You might be thinking, but it feels real. It feels like intuition. I can just tell that's what she was thinking. This is the most dangerous lie your brain tells you. It is not intuition. It is distortion. These automatic, negative, and fictional narratives are known as cognitive distortions. They are flawed mental filters, logical fallacies, and thinking errors that all human brains, and especially anxious, high-achieving ones, fall prey to. They are mental shortcuts that your brain takes to try and make sense of the world quickly. But these shortcuts are leading you off a cliff. While there are many types of cognitive distortions, the person who takes things personally is being terrorized by 2 specific brutal culprits. The first is mind reading. Mind reading is the non-psychic's conviction that they know exactly what another person is thinking without a single shred of actual evidence. It is the absolute, unshakable certainty that your quiet colleague is judging you, that your partner is mad at you, or that your boss thinks you're stupid. You are not inferring. You are not guessing. You are stating it as fact inside your own head. This distortion is the spotlight effect from Chapter 1 put into action. Because you are so hyper-aware of your own flaws and insecurities, you project those insecurities onto everyone else. You assume that what is loudest in your head must also be loudest in theirs. Your boss glanced at her watch. Your mind-reading distortion ignored 1,000 other possibilities. She's late for her next meeting. She's waiting on an important call. She's checking her heart rate. She's simply looking at her watch. And instead, it scanned your deepest insecurity. I'm not smart enough. And said, yes, that's it. That is what she is thinking. Mind reading turns the entire world into a hostile, judgmental audience. It takes neutral, ambiguous data and always twists it into a personal, negative verdict. But mind reading doesn't work alone. It has a devastating partner. The second culprit is catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is the act of taking one small negative event and spinning it out into the worst-case, most disastrous possible conclusion. It's the snowball effect. It's the what-if chain reaction that always ends in ruin. Mind reading gives you the false data. The boss thinks my idea is terrible. Catastrophizing builds the doomsday scenario. And therefore, I've blown it. And therefore, I'm getting fired. And therefore, I'll lose my house and my life is over. You sent a text to a friend. You see the red receipt. An hour goes by, no reply. Mind reading, they're ignoring me. I said something wrong. They're mad at me. Catastrophizing, this is the end of our friendship. I've ruined it. I am a bad friend. I am going to end up alone. Do you see the insanity of this? A fact, a read receipt, is instantly converted into a story of I am going to die alone. This is the 1-2 punch that creates your anxiety. Mind reading provides the personal attack, and catastrophizing provides the disastrous consequence. Why do we do this? Again, it's a survival mechanism gone wrong. Your brain is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to protect you. Your brain has a powerful negativity bias. It is biologically wired to pay more attention to and give more weight to potential negative outcomes than to positive ones. It's an evolutionary hand-me-down. The ancestor who heard a rustle in the bushes and thought, "Oh, it's probably just the wind," got eaten. The ancestor who heard the same rustle and catastrophized, "It's a lion, I'm going to die, run," was the one who survived and passed on his genes. Your brain is hardwired to be a worst-case scenario generator. It believes that by predicting every possible disaster, it can protect you from being surprised by them. But, just like the amygdala, this system is now backfiring. It's not protecting you from lions, it's protecting you from a read receipt. It's not saving your life, it is ruining your day. So, here is the liberating truth. If your story is the source of your pain, you can change the story. If you are the author of your own suffering, you can become the editor of your own piece. The solution is to stop being a passive consumer of your thoughts and to start becoming an objective editor. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And as the observer, you have the power to hit pause, pick up a red pen, and rewrite the script. I am now going to give you the 3-step script for becoming that objective editor. This is not a positive thinking exercise. This is a rigorous, logical, cognitive tool. The next time you are hijacked by a negative story, you will perform these 3 actions. Step 1. Capture the automatic story. You must get the story out of your head. As long as it is a feeling or a vibe or a swirling vortex of anxiety, it is too powerful. You cannot fight a fog. You must make it concrete. So, you will literally write it down. On a piece of paper, in your notes app, in a journal, you will write one clear declarative sentence. Let's use our scenario. You're at your desk, spiraling. You pull out a notebook, you write, "My boss thinks my idea is terrible and I've ruined my career." That's it. Stare at it. It looks dramatic, doesn't it? It looks a little ridiculous even. Good. That's the point. You've taken the monster out of the dark and dragged it into the light. Step 2. Challenge the evidence, the interrogation. Now you will be a lawyer, a detective. You will cross-examine this story as if it's on a witness stand. You will ask it 3 precise questions. Question 1. What are the objective facts that support this story? Be brutal. A feeling is not a fact. A vibe is not a fact. The only fact you can write down is, she looked at her watch once. Question 2. What are the objective facts that contradict this story? Now you are the defense attorney. She approved this meeting. She hired me. She gave me a positive review 3 months ago. She listened to the other 99% of the presentation. She asked 2 relevant questions at the end. Question 3. What are 3 alternative, more likely explanations for the one fact? This is where you break the back of the distortion. She was late for her next meeting, which has nothing to do with me. She was waiting for an important email from her boss and was checking the time. She has a headache. She's tired. She's human. Her glance was a random, meaningless muscular contraction that had zero to do with me. Step 3. Create the new objective script. You have now proven, beyond a reasonable doubt, that your automatic story is false. It is a lie. Now you will replace it. You will write a new story, one that is rational, balanced, and based only on the facts. Your new script is, my boss looked at her watch. I have no idea why, and it's not my job to be a mind reader. It's probably got nothing to do with me. The facts I have are that I delivered a well-researched presentation. I will now wait for her actual verbal feedback instead of inventing a story in my own head. This is your new truth. You will read it, you will breathe it in, and you will let the old story go. You have just performed cognitive surgery on yourself. You have stopped the mind reading. You have diffused the catastrophe. You have taken the remote control back from your anxious storytelling brain. Let's try it one more time. The read receipt. Step 1. Capture the story. My friend is mad at me and is ending our friendship. Step 2. Challenge. Fact 4. They read my text and didn't reply for 2 hours. Fact against. This person has been my close, loyal friend for a decade. They have never done this before. They told me this week was hell week for their big project at work. They are a parent with 3 small children. 3 alternatives. 1. They are in a high-stakes meeting. 2. Their kid just spilled paint on the dog. 3. They read it, meant to reply, got pulled into an emergency, and will reply tonight, horrified that they left you on red. Step 3. Create the new script. My friend is almost certainly just swamped with work or family, just as they told me they would be. Their silence is a reflection of their stress, not my worth. They will text me when they have a free second. I am a good friend. This is your new power. Your first automatic thought is not the truth. It is a proposal. It is a draft. And you have just become the editor-in-chief of your own mind. You no longer have to believe every anxious, negative, poison story that your brain proposes. In the last chapter, you learned to intercept the biological reaction. Now, you have the tool to dismantle the psychological one. But this raises a deeper question. Why do these stories hurt so much? Why is our first draft always so negative? It's because the mind reading and catastrophizing are attaching themselves to a deeper vulnerability, our self-worth. The reason she thinks my idea is terrible hurts is because you have unconsciously tied your sense of competence to her opinion. The reason he's mad at me hurts is because you've tied your sense of being a good person to his instant approval. Your self-worth is external. It's a fragile thing you've placed in the hands of others. To truly, permanently become free, you must do more than just edit the stories. You must build a core of self-worth that is so solid, so internal, and so yours that the opinions of others, real or imagined, simply don't have the power to rock you. That is the next critical step. It's time to build your internal locus of control. Let's talk about the project. You know the one you poured your soul into. It wasn't just a task on a to-do list, it was you. It was those late nights, those second, third, and fourth drafts. It was the eureka moment in the shower. It was the dinners you missed, the weekend plans you sacrificed. You polished every slide. You fact-checked every number. You practiced the presentation in your car. You didn't just do the work, you became the work. And then the day comes. The big reveal, the presentation. You finish. You look up, heart pounding, ready for the wave of validation you've earned. The wow, the this is brilliant, the we're greenlighting this immediately. And what you get is silence. Just polite nods. Someone checks their phone. The manager says, "Right, thanks for that. We'll take it under advisement." And the meeting moves on. Let's just pause in that moment. The hot flush of the amygdala hijack from Chapter 2 isn't there. The anxious storytelling of "I'm going to be fired" from Chapter 3 isn't quite it. This is something else. This is a cold, hollow, crushing emptiness. It's the feeling of a balloon bursting. It's the taste of ash. In that moment, you feel like a failure. Not just the project failed, I failed. I am a failure. All that work, all that sacrifice meant nothing. You go back to your desk and you are hollowed out. Your motivation is gone. The very identity you've been building for the last 6 weeks has just evaporated. Why does this one, neutral, lukewarm moment have the power to erase 6 weeks of your hard work? Why does a committee of distracted people, who probably just came from another boring meeting and are thinking about lunch, why do they get to define the value of your labor? This is the moment we have to confront the deepest, most insidious layer of personalization. We have been talking about how we misinterpret threats. Now we must talk about how we misinterpret validation. The problem isn't just that you wanted them to like it. The problem is that you needed them to like it. You needed their applause to prove to you that your work was good. You needed their external yes to validate your internal I. You have, in effect, handed the gavel of your own self-worth to a jury that wasn't even paying attention. This is a psychological concept known as your locus of control. Locus is just a Latin word for place. It is the place from which you draw your sense of power, validation, and control over your life. And for most people, it is in the entirely wrong place. Most of the world lives with what is called an external locus of control. This is a psychological state where you believe your life, your success, your happiness, and your worth are determined by external forces. My boss's mood, the traffic, the stock market, the algorithm, my likes, the audience's reaction, luck. When you live in this state, you are a ship without a rudder. You are at the mercy of every wind that blows. You get a like, you feel a rush of validation. You get a critique, you are devastated. Your mood is a chaotic, painful roller coaster, and everyone else has the remote control. You have outsourced your identity. It is, as the outline for this chapter states, a guaranteed recipe for misery. It's a game you cannot win because you are always waiting for someone else to tell you that you are okay. You are waiting for the world to grant you permission to be proud of yourself. But what if there was another way? What if you could walk out of that same meeting after those same polite nods and still feel a deep, quiet, unbreakable sense of pride? What if their lukewarm reception was just data, but it didn't and couldn't touch the value of the work you did? Welcome to the internal locus of control. This is the revolution. This is the moment you stop outsourcing your self-worth. This is the moment you fire the external jury and become your own and only judge. An internal locus of control is the core, unshakable belief that you are the architect of your life. It is a fundamental shift in where you find your win. It is the decision to find satisfaction not in the unpredictable results, but in your own controllable actions. Your effort, your integrity, your process, your discipline, your own high standards. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is still an external game. It's about proving you are better than others. This is not apathy. It's not, I don't care what anyone thinks. This is anchoring. It is the radical act of anchoring your self-worth to things you and only you can control. So, how do we do it? How do we build this? I am going to give you a tool. I want you to visualize it, to make it your new mental model for every task you do from this moment forward. I call it the 2-column ledger. Imagine a simple ledger book in your mind. It has 2 columns side by side. Column 1 is labeled My Domain. This is the only column you control. This is the only column that defines your worth. What goes in this column? My preparation, my work ethic, the integrity of my research, the courage I showed in presenting a bold idea, the number of hours I chose to put in, the way I treated my team, my honesty, my discipline, my process. This column is your new source of validation. Your job, your only job, is to fill this column to your personal standard of excellence. Column 2 is labeled Their Domain. This is the column of outcomes. This is the column you do not and cannot ever fully control. What goes in this column? The audience's reaction. Whether the project is approved. Whether your boss likes it. The budget, which you don't set. Internal politics, which you don't control. The client's mood. The algorithm. The final sales numbers. Here is the problem. We live our entire lives with our eyes, our hearts, and our self-worth glued to column 2. We let their domain define us. The person who takes things personally is someone who looks at an empty column 2 and believes it erases a full column 1. The internal locus of control is the act of surgically separating these two columns forever. You must find your win exclusively in column 1. You must learn to look at column 2 as simple, unemotional data. It is feedback. It is information for your next move. But it is not and never will be a verdict on your worth. Let's replay our scenarios with this new, powerful tool. Scenario 1, the project, revisited. Old way, external locus. I'm a failure. Why? Because column 2 was empty. They didn't applaud. The project wasn't approved. New way, internal locus. You walk out of that meeting. You open your mental ledger. How did I do in my domain? Column 1. I did the deepest research of my career. The work is solid. I was disciplined. I was brave. I am 10/10 proud of the work I did. Column 2. The reception was lukewarm. The project is under advisement. New conclusion. My effort was a success. The outcome is a maybe. The outcome data tells me I might need to work on my delivery, or that the company's budget is tighter than I thought. But the outcome does not and cannot change the 10/10 in my column 1. My work was excellent. I am proud. Do you feel the shift? You've gone from I am a failure to my work was a success and I have gathered new data. You are not crushed. You are informed. Scenario 2. You're a creative. You post your art, your song, your article. You pour your heart into it. You post it. It gets 4 likes and 1 meh comment. Old way, external locus. This is trash. I am trash. I'm not a real artist. I'm an imposter. What's the point? You are crushed. You stop creating. New way, internal locus. Column 1, my domain. Did I create something I believe in? Yes. Did I push my skills? Yes. Did I have the courage to hit publish? Yes. Am I proud of the act of creation? Yes. My column 1 is full. Column 2, their domain. The algorithm didn't pick it up. The audience didn't respond. New conclusion. My creation was the success. The reception was the data. The data tells me my marketing might be off or my audience isn't here. It does not tell me my art is worthless. I am a real artist because I create. My column 1 is full. I will create again tomorrow. Scenario 3. A high-stakes social situation. A first date. You go out, you're nervous, you try to be engaging, you ask good questions, you're polite, you think it goes okay. You text them, had a great time, and you get nothing. You're ghosted. Old way, external locus. I knew it. I'm boring. I'm not attractive. I said something stupid. There is something fundamentally wrong with me. I'm unlovable. You are letting their column 2 define your column 1. New way, internal locus. Column 1, my domain. Did I show up as my authentic, kind, respectful self? Yes. Did I try to make a genuine connection? Yes. Am I proud of how I behaved? Yes. My column 1 is full. Column 2, their domain. They didn't text back. New conclusion, I did my part. The reason they didn't text back is 100% in their domain. They might not be ready to date. They might be hung up on an ex. They might have a different priority. They might just not have felt a spark. Their lack of response is a reflection of them, not a verdict on me. My worth is intact. Next. This is the power of not taking things personally. It is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming free. The world is addicted to column 2. Your entire life, you have been trained to find your worth in the likes, the grades, the promotions, the applause. Building your internal locus of control is a quiet, radical, and daily act of revolution. It is the act of re-anchoring your identity. From now on, your win is not the applause. Your win is the work. Your win is not the yes. Your win is the courage to ask. Your win is not their approval. Your win is your own integrity. You must, from this day forward, stop asking the world, "Did I do okay?" And you must start telling yourself, "My work was good." The validation you get from your own column 1 is the only validation that ever lasts. It is the only validation you will ever need. Everything else, all that praise, all that applause, all those likes, it's just a nice to have. It's data. It's a bonus. It is not and never will be the bottom line. This is your new shield. It's how you protect your worth from a lukewarm world. But this raises a critical, new question. What happens when the world isn't just lukewarm? What happens when the data in column 2 isn't just silence, but a direct, vocal, and vicious attack? What happens when the feedback isn't meh, but mean? How do you separate the data you need for growth from the noise that is designed to hurt you? That is the next crucial skill we must master. It is time to build your feedback filter. Let's talk about that moment. The moment someone takes a pin or a sledgehammer to your balloon. You're in a creative review. A colleague you respect but find difficult is looking at your work. You've just explained your rationale. And he says, "I'm sorry, but this is just not it. The entire approach is flawed. You've completely missed the point of the brief." Ouch! What happens in your body? Instantly, the shields go up. The hot flush, the amygdala's alarm, just as we discussed. But this is more than a hijack. This is an egoic defense. Your internal locus of control, the new one you've been building, feels like it's under direct artillery fire. And your mind, your storyteller, kicks in hard, not with anxiety, but with rage. Flawed? He's flawed. He's an arrogant fool who hasn't had a new idea in 10 years. He's just threatened by me. He's trying to tear me down. I'm not listening to this. I'm just going to nod, say thanks, and ignore every single word he just said. You've just wrapped yourself in a suit of emotional armor. You feel protected. You feel strong for deflecting his negativity. But let me ask you a question. What if, tucked inside that arrogant, poorly delivered, obnoxious package was a 10% grain of truth? What if you had missed one small, critical part of the brief? What if his clumsy criticism was pointing to a real blind spot that, if fixed, would make your work 100 times better? You'll never know, because your shields didn't just block the insult, they blocked the information. This is the great, tragic mistake we make. We become so obsessed with protecting our ego from attack that we starve it of the very feedback it needs to grow. This is the fortress of the fragile ego. We build these giant windowless walls around our self-worth. We think it keeps us safe. But a fortress is not a home. It is a prison. It doesn't just block enemies, it blocks allies. It doesn't just block pain, it blocks growth. It blocks connection. It blocks truth. This defensiveness, this "I'm not listening to you" reflex, does not make you strong. It makes you uncoachable. And in life, in your career, uncoachable is a death sentence. The uncoachable person is the one who stops getting promoted. The uncoachable person is the one whose relationships stagnate and fail. The uncoachable person is the one who repeats the same self-defeating patterns for their entire life, all while blaming the rest of the world for their problems. They are the most fragile, most brittle, and ultimately most stuck person in the room. The person who takes everything personally, who treats all negative input as an attack, has built a perfect, impenetrable fortress and will die of starvation inside it. So what is the alternative? Am I asking you to just take it? To let that arrogant colleague walk all over you? To just absorb insults and negativity? Absolutely not. That's not strength either. That's just being a doormat. That's an external locus of control, just with a please kick me sign on it. A truly strong person, a person with a true internal locus of control, does not need a fortress. They don't need to deflect the world. They have a new tool, not a wall, a filter. This is the moment your prefrontal cortex, your brain's calm, logical CEO, graduates from just being a firefighter, stopping the amygdala hijack, to being a master geochemist. I want you to hold this analogy in your mind. From now on, all criticism, all feedback, all negative input from a kind mentor or an angry stranger is a bucket of muddy river water. That's all it is. It's just data. It's a mix of dirt, rocks, mud, and maybe, just maybe, a few shining, heavy nuggets of pure gold. The reactive person, the uncoachable one, gets the bucket of mud, feels insulted by the dirt, and, in a fit of rage, throws the entire bucket back in the person's face. They end up dirty, angry, and with no gold. The passive person, the doormat, just accepts the bucket. They say thank you for this mud, and they carry it around with them all day, weighed down by the dirt and rocks, feeling worthless. They still get no gold. You are going to be the geologist. You are going to take that bucket. You are going to hold it steady. This is your internal locus from Chapter 4. You will not drink the mud. You will not throw the mud. You are going to apply a process. You are going to pour it into your feedback filter. You will add the clear water of objectivity, your new PFC skill, and you will sift. You will calmly, rationally, and without emotion let the dirt, the insult, the bad delivery, the anger, the projection wash away. You will let the rocks, the parts that are true but not useful, settle at the bottom. And you will train your eye to look for the gold. The 10% kernel of truth, the one valid insight, the one useful piece of data that can make you better. This is the feedback filter. It is a simple 3-question test you will apply in real time to all negative input. Let's get that bucket of mud from your colleague. This is just not it. The entire approach is flawed. You've completely missed the point of the brief. Your shields want to go up, but you hold the pan steady. You take a breath, and you run the filter. Question 1. Is this true? Your ego screams, no. Your PFC whispers, be honest. Is it possible I missed the brief? Did I get so excited about my own idea that I steamrolled the objective? Is there a 10% chance there is a kernel of truth in flawed approach? You have to be brutally honest with yourself in this private internal moment. Let's say the answer is, maybe. I did focus on the creative, not the business objective. Question 2. Is this useful? This is where you start sifting. The dirt. The phrases, just not it, and completely missed the point. These are insults. They are not feedback. They are useless. You will let this mud wash away immediately. It has no value. The gold. The signal that your approach is misaligned with the brief. This is extremely useful. This is the nugget. So, part of the feedback, the delivery, is useless. But part of it, the data, is very useful. Question 3. Is this about me or about them? This is the final brilliant sifting. This is how you separate data from projection. The dirt, the rude, arrogant, completely flawed delivery, that is 100% about him. That is his ego. That is his poor communication style. That is his lack of emotional intelligence. That is his mud, and you will not carry it. Let it go. The gold, the mismatch with the brief data, that is 100% about me, or rather, about the work. And because I have an internal locus, I welcome data that can make my work better. You have just, in the space of 3 seconds, performed a miracle. You have disarmed the attack, discarded the insult, and mined for the treasure. Now, how do you respond? The reactive person would have said, "Well, your work on the last project was the real disaster." War. The passive person would have said, "You're right, I'm sorry, this is terrible, I'll start over." Defeat. You, the geologist, will say, "Putting aside the delivery for a second, I hear your concern about the brief. Can you tell me specifically which part of the brief you feel my approach is missing? Do you see the power in that? You have not accepted the insult. You have not started a fight. You have acknowledged his mud, putting aside the delivery, and calmly asked for more gold. Tell me specifically. You are now in complete control. You are not a victim. You are not a combatant. You are a professional. You are mining for growth. This filter works for everything. Scenario A, pure gold, kind but tough feedback. A mentor you trust says, "I'm saying this because I care about your career. You are brilliant, but you are disorganized. Your follow-up is poor, and it's starting to hurt your reputation." Filter 1, true? Ouch. Yes, it is. Filter 2, useful? Painfully, yes. Filter 3, me, them? This is 100% about me, and it's delivered with care, no mud. Action. Take a deep breath. Thank you, that is hard to hear, and I appreciate you telling me directly. I need to fix this. Do you have any advice on a system that works for you? You just got a treasure map. Follow it. Scenario B, pure mud, a personal attack. You're at a family dinner and an insecure relative says, "Must be nice to have so much time to go to the gym. Some of us who actually care about our families have real responsibilities." Filter 1, true? Am I a selfish person who doesn't care about my family? No, that is objectively false. Filter 2, useful? Is there any useful data in this? No, it is 100% emotional noise. Filter 3, me, them? This is 1000% about them. This is their insecurity. This is their jealousy. This is their story about their own life. This is their mud. Action. You do not sift this. You do not even accept this bucket. You let it pour straight onto the ground. You do not defend. I do care. You do not attack. Well, you. You simply disengage. That's an interesting perspective. Anyway, how is subject change? You have not taken it personally. It never touched you. It was never about you. It was just noise passing by. This is your new skill, to stop building walls and start mastering your filter, to stop seeing criticism as an attack and start seeing it as data, to become the calm, objective geologist who can find the gold in any situation, no matter how muddy, and let the dirt wash away forever. You are no longer uncoachable. You are no longer fragile. You are now the most robust, most objective, and fastest growing person in the room. But this leads to a final, more advanced technique. We've learned to filter the mud from the gold. We've learned to let the pure mud, the projections, flow past us. But what if you could do something even more powerful? What if you could understand why the person is throwing mud in the first place? What if you could look at the person attacking you, not with fear or anger, but with pity? What if you could become so armored in your own self-worth that you could use empathy as the ultimate bulletproof shield? That is where true invincibility lies, and that is where we are going next. Let's talk about the most dangerous, high-stakes, and emotionally volatile place on Earth for most people. It's not a battlefield. It's not a hostile boardroom. It's the family dinner table. You're back for a holiday. You're sitting across from a relative. Let's call her Aunt Mary. The air is thick with unspoken tensions, old histories, and the suffocating weight of expectations. You're just trying to pass the potatoes and survive. And then it happens. The conversational hand grenade. Aunt Mary stops, puts her fork down, and gives you the look. The one that's a mix of pity and judgment. "You know," she says, her voice loud enough for the whole table to hear, "it's a shame you're still doing that little freelance thing. Your cousin David just got a real job at the bank. Benefits, a 401k. He's finally settling down. You must be so worried all the time." Boom. Let's just pause right there. What happens? The hot flush of the amygdala hijack, the instant clenching in your jaw, the shields up reflex we talked about in the last chapter. But this is different. This isn't a colleague. This is family. The wounds are deeper. The programming is older. Your mirror neurons are on fire, and they are screaming at you to match her hostility. The old you, the reactive you, leans right back in. "Well, Aunt Mary, at least I don't dread getting out of bed every morning. I'd rather be worried than miserable like David." And scene. The grenade has exploded. The dinner is ruined. Sides are taken. You've spent the rest of the night in a cold war, and you drive home leaking energy, fuming, replaying the encounter, wondering why you let her hook you again. You fell into the trap. And the trap is this. You believed in that instant that her comment was about you. You believed it was a spear precisely crafted and aimed directly at your heart. You believed it was a truthful, objective valuation of your life choices versus your cousin David's. You accepted her frame. You agreed to fight on her terms, on her battlefield. And that is why you lost. I am about to hand you the key to a power so profound it will feel like a superpower. It is the ultimate defense. It is the one that makes you truly bulletproof. Here is the secret. Aunt Mary's attack was never, ever about you. It was not a spear aimed at you. It was a window opening into her. What you just heard was not a verdict. It was a projection. This is one of the most fundamental concepts in psychology. People do not experience the world as it is. They experience the world as they are. They live inside their own mental prisons, built from their own fears, their own regrets, their own unlived lives, and their own rigid definitions of success and failure. And when they speak, they are not describing you. They are projecting their prison, their worldview, their fears onto you. Her comment was not a photograph of your life. It was an X-ray of her own. This is the foundation of a tool I call strategic empathy. It is not forgiveness. It is not being the bigger person in a passive way. It is a tactical cognitive dissociation from the attack. It is the act of refusing to be the target. How do we use it? We ask one simple, powerful, transformative question. The next time someone throws a spear at you, you will not raise your shield. You will not throw one back. You will get quiet, you will get curious, and you will ask yourself, what must be going on in their world for them to say that? Let's rewind the tape. Aunt Mary: "You must be so worried all the time." The old you reacts. The new you engages strategic empathy. The question: what must be going on in Aunt Mary's world for her to say that? Let's run the diagnostics. Possibility 1. To Aunt Mary, the world is a terrifying, unstable place. A 401k and benefits are not just words to her. They are the only metrics of safety and security she has ever known. Your life, a life of freedom, uncertainty, and self-reliance, is viscerally terrifying to her. It challenges her entire belief system. Her comment isn't an attack on your bravery. It's a projection of her fear. Possibility 2. She's not projecting fear. She's projecting regret. Maybe she once had a dream to be a painter or a writer or to start her own business. But she didn't. She took the safe path. And now she has to watch you do the very thing she never had the courage to try. Your existence is a painful reminder of her own unlived life. And her comment is not an attack. It is the lashing out of a lifetime of quiet resentment. Possibility 3. She's just parroting. She has no original thought on the matter. She is just repeating a script she heard from her parents. A script that says job equals good, no job equals bad. She's not even thinking. Suddenly, what happens? The spear, aimed right at your heart, dissolves into smoke halfway across the table. It cannot hit you. It has no point. Because the point was never you. Her words are no longer an insult. They are a confession. They are a sad, vulnerable, and deeply human look into the bars of her prison. And in that instant, your entire emotional state shifts. The hot, defensive anger just vanishes. And what replaces it? Not weakness, not surrender. A calm, powerful, and profound sense of objectivity, maybe even a little pity. You are no longer a combatant in a fight. You are a doctor looking at a symptom. This is how you become bulletproof. The attack never lands. You have just performed emotional jujitsu. You've used the force of her attack to take your emotional balance, and you've completely neutralized the threat. Now, how do you respond? You don't need to, not really. The old you, the reactive you, had to fight back to defend your life. The new you, the bulletproof you, has nothing to defend. Your life was never under attack. So you hold her gaze, not with a glare, but with a calm, almost compassionate curiosity. You take a breath, and you say, "That's one way to look at it, Aunt Mary. It sounds like that 401k makes David feel really secure. That's great for him." Let's analyze what you just did. You did not defend yourself. You didn't say, "But I'm happy." You didn't justify your income. You never, ever defend your life to someone who is not qualified to judge it. You did not attack her. You didn't say, "David is miserable." You found the fear in her comment, secure, worried, and you calmly validated it as her feeling. That makes him feel secure. You refuse to accept her frame. You simply let her words sit there, and then you passed the potatoes. You have disarmed the bomb. You have kept your power. You are in 100% control, and she doesn't even know what happened. You have won the war by refusing to fight. This is not just a psychological trick. This is a biological override. Our brains, as I mentioned, are hardwired with something called mirror neurons. These neurons are our social bonding hardware. When you smile, my mirror neurons for smiling fire, and I want to smile back. When you yawn, my mirror neurons for yawning fire, and I want to yawn. But this system has a dark side. When someone throws anger at you, when they attack you, your mirror neurons for aggression fire. You want to attack back. It is a deep, primitive, biological reflex. This is why arguments escalate. This is why an eye for an eye is the default setting for humanity. This is why a customer yelling at you makes you want to yell back. You are biologically programmed to match their hostile energy. Strategic empathy is the conscious use of your prefrontal cortex to override your mirror neurons. It is the act of refusing to mirror their anger. Instead, you are observing it. You are making a conscious, executive decision to provide an asymmetrical response. They offer anger. You offer calm. They offer projection. You offer objectivity. They offer a fight. You offer nothing for them to hit. You break the loop. Let's try it in one more high-stakes scenario. The angry stranger. You're a barista. A man slams his cup on the counter. "This is not what I ordered. This is garbage. Your service is terrible and I'm never coming back. His face is red. He is projecting rage. Old reaction, mirror neurons. Your mirror neurons fire. You get defensive. Sir, that is what you ordered. I repeated it back to you. I can't help it if you... New reaction, strategic empathy. Pause, override. Ask the question. What is really going on with this person? Analysis. He's not angry at the coffee. He's powerless. He's late for a meeting. His boss just ripped him apart. He feels like a failure. His car payment is late. He is desperate to feel a tiny bit of control over his chaotic, awful day, and this one cup of coffee was the last straw. His anger is not an attack. It is a symptom of his panic. The asymmetrical response. You do not mirror his anger. You speak to his panic. You take a deep breath, you make eye contact, you say, in a calm voice, "You are absolutely right. I am so sorry. You are clearly in a major rush, and we messed that up. Let me remake this for you right now, and I'm going to give you a voucher for a free one tomorrow. I'm so sorry we added to your stress." What happens? The man's anger will vanish, like a light switch. He will be flooded with relief. Why? Because you didn't fight his mask, the anger. You spoke directly to his fear, the stress. You stopped being his opponent and you became his ally. You didn't just take it personally. You saw the truth behind the noise. This is your new armor. It is not a wall. It is not a shield. It is a form of X-ray vision. When you understand that 99% of the negativity you receive is not a verdict on you, but a diary entry about the other person, you can no longer be hit. You are no longer a target. You can walk through the world not in a constant defensive flinch, but with a calm, profound curiosity. This compassion is not a weakness. It is your most strategic, most powerful, and most unbreakable defense. You are not just filtering attacks anymore. You are dissolving them at the source. But what about that other 1%? What about the person who is a bully? What about the disapproval that isn't just one comment, but a constant, grinding pressure? What about the people who just plain don't like you and make it known? You can't just empathize your way out of that. You need another tool. You need to build a tolerance. You need to stop fearing disapproval and learn to walk right through it. It's time to build the so what shield. How many great ideas are in your notebook right now, not on your website? How many bold, game-changing comments have you swallowed in a meeting, letting someone else say a less powerful version 10 minutes later? How many half-finished paintings, business plans, or book manuscripts are sitting in a folder on your computer, 99% done, but 100% hidden? Why? What is the invisible, paralyzing force that stops you from hitting publish? It's not laziness. You did the work. It's not a lack of passion. You care about this. It is a fear. It is the chilling, visceral, stomach-dropping fear of disapproval. It's the fear of someone, real or imagined, looking at your work, your soul, and saying, "That's stupid," or "Who do you think you are to do this?" or "This is basic." It is the fear of being judged, misunderstood, criticized, or, worst of all, laughed at. This fear is a cage. It is the invisible electric fence that keeps you contained, safe, and small. You have spent the last 6 chapters learning how to deal with attacks, criticisms, and projections when they happen. You've learned to pause and label the hijack. You've learned to edit your false stories. You've learned to filter the mud for the gold. You've learned to use empathy as a shield. These are all fundamentally defensive tools. They are brilliant, powerful, and necessary. They teach you how to handle the arrows that are shot at you. But what if you could stop fearing the arrows in the first place? What if you could stand in the field with no shield and watch the arrows fly by, completely, genuinely, and biologically unbothered? This is the final stage of freedom, moving from deflecting personalization to being genuinely immune to it. This is the chapter where we stop building shields and start building tolerance. To do that, we must first face the dragon. We must understand why this fear is so disproportionately powerful. Why does the potential for one negative comment always seem to shout louder than the potential for 1,000 positive ones? The answer is one of the most powerful and destructive forces in your brain: the negativity bias. Your brain, as we've established, is not a neutral logical computer. It is a 5 million-year-old survival machine, and its prime directive is not to make you happy. It is to keep you alive. To do that, it evolved a critical feature. It is built with Teflon for positive experiences and Velcro for negative ones. Think about your last performance review. Your boss gives you 9 pieces of genuinely positive feedback. You're a great team player. Your work is consistent. The client loves you. And then 1. Area for improvement. You just need to be a little more proactive in the team meetings. What do you spend the entire drive home, the entire dinner, the entire night obsessing over? Not the 9 wins. You are in a loop, fixating on that one single critique. This is the negativity bias in action. Your brain, for survival reasons, is biologically hardwired to give intense, obsessive, disproportional weight to negative stimuli over positive stimuli. Let's go back to the savannah. An ancestor tries a new red berry. It's delicious, a positive stimulus. He tries a different red berry. He gets violently ill for 3 days and almost dies, a negative stimulus. Which berry is his brain going to remember? Which one will he obsess over? Which one will he tell his children about? The bad one. The ancestor who thought, oh well, 50-50 shot on red berries. He did not pass on his genes. The ancestor who obsessed over the negative, who catastrophized it, who developed a fear of new red berries, he survived. You are the descendant of the most anxious, most negative-biased, most risk-averse humans on the planet. Congratulations! But here is the malfunction. Your brain is still running this poison berry software. But today, the poison berry is a thumbs down on your YouTube video. The poison berry is a critical comment on your blog post. The poison berry is someone in a meeting disagreeing with you. Your brain, in its infinite, paranoid wisdom, is protecting you from ambition with the same life-or-death urgency it once used to protect you from actual death. It screams, don't post that. What if they criticize you? It could be a bad berry. It could kill you. Stay safe, stay hidden, stay small. This is the biological root of your paralysis. You are having a systemic, allergic, life-or-death reaction to a potential, subjective, non-lethal opinion. So, how do you fix a system that is designed to be oversensitive? You can't just tell it to stop. You've tried. Oh, just be more positive. It doesn't work. You can't reason with it. Your PFC is too slow. You must train it. You must show it with real physical evidence that its panic is a false alarm. You have to prove to your ancient brain over and over that disapproval does not equal danger. This process is called voluntary discomfort. Think of it as exposure therapy for your ego. It works just like a vaccine. What is a vaccine? It's a tiny, safe, controlled dose of a dead virus. You inject it on purpose. Your body's alarm system, the immune system, goes, panic, we are under attack. It mounts a full response. And then it realizes, it's fine. The threat was a false alarm. But in the process, it built the antibodies. It learned. It is now immune to the real thing. We are going to do the exact same thing for your nervous system. We are going to intentionally, in small, safe, controlled doses, expose ourselves to the very thing we fear: disapproval, rejection, and social awkwardness. We are going to intentionally pull the fire alarm just to prove to our brain that there is no fire. We are going to build our emotional antibodies. This is not about humiliation. This is about desensitization. You must do this. It is not an intellectual exercise. It is a physical practice. Here is your new workout plan. The tiny, safe no. Goal: survive a simple rejection. Your mission is to go to a coffee shop, or a bakery, or a hot dog stand, and you are going to ask for a 10% discount. Just ask. When the barista tells you the price, you will say, politely, "Is there any chance I could get a 10% discount?" They will look confused, and they will say, "No." You will feel it, the jolt, the social awkwardness, the, "Oh my God, I'm so weird." Your amygdala will fire, and you will say, "No problem, here you go." You will pay, you will get your coffee, you will walk out the door, and you will stop. And you will realize, I survived. The world did not end. I did not die. I just felt awkward for 3 seconds. You have just logged your first rep. You have just proven to your brain that rejection is survivable. Level 2. The weird look. Goal: survive the spotlight effect. Your mission is to do something slightly off. Wear your shirt backward for an hour while you run errands. Wear 2 different colored and very visible socks. Go to a library and lie down on the floor in an empty aisle for 30 seconds. This is not for attention. This is for you. You will feel the spotlight effect. You will feel like every eye in the world is on you, judging you, thinking you are a lunatic. Your brain will scream at you, "Danger! The tribe is staring. They are going to cast you out." And then, nothing will happen. People will glance, they will think, "That's weird," and they will go back to thinking about their own lives. You will survive. You have just logged another rep. You have proven to your brain that being judged is survivable. Level 3. The low-stakes failure. Goal: survive an opinion. Your mission is to intentionally invite a no on an idea. In a low-stakes meeting with colleagues you trust or friends, you will pitch a small, out-there idea. "Hey, what if, for the next team building, we all learned how to juggle?" They will say, "No, that's a silly idea. We're not doing that." Your old self would have personalized this. "They think I'm silly." Your new mission: do nothing. Don't defend it. Don't justify it. Don't feel shame. Just experience the rejection of your idea and say, "Okay, no problem, just a thought." And the conversation will move on, and you will be fine. You have just proven to your brain that your idea being rejected is not you being rejected. Level 4. The publish button. Goal: survive the potential of disapproval. This is the boss level. That article, that blog post, that song, that website. You've been polishing it for 6 months. You are waiting for it to be perfect. No, you're not. You are hiding. Your mission: hit publish. Today. Not perfect, just done. You will feel a massive jolt of vulnerability. The poison berry, what if they hate it? And you will post it. And what will happen? Maybe 3 people will like it. Maybe 1 will comment. Maybe no one will notice. Or maybe 1 person will say, "I disagree with this." And you, now vaccinated, will look at that comment and survive. You will realize that a negative comment is just data. It's not death. What are we building here? We are building your so what shield. This shield is not an angry, defensive, "so what, I don't care." It is a calm, bored, desensitized "so what." It is the physiological result of your training. It's your brain, having now survived 100 micro-rejections, finally learning that the alarm is false. The so what shield is your amygdala finally getting bored with the threat. So what if they say no? So what if they think my socks are weird? So what if they don't like my idea? So what if they leave a mean comment? It's not an intellectual question. It is a physical state. It's the feeling of, "I've been here before. I've felt this feeling, and I know for a fact that it doesn't harm me. This is the freedom you have been looking for. You have moved from fearing the unknown judgment of the crowd to proving to yourself that it has no real power over you. You have stopped asking what if and started saying, so what? You have taken your ambition out of the cage. You have now, in these 7 chapters, built a formidable set of tools. You have the pause, the editor, the internal locus, the filter, the empathy shield, and now the so what tolerance. You have an entire operating system for emotional freedom. But how do you make it automatic? How do you integrate this so you don't have to remember to use the tools in the heat of the moment? How do you make calm, objective, and impersonal your new automatic default state? That is the final piece of the puzzle. It is the science of installing this new software permanently. It is the science of applied neuroplasticity. And that is where we are going next. You've been doing the work. You've been listening. You've been practicing. You successfully paused and labeled when your partner was short with you. You successfully edited the false story when you got that vague email. You successfully filtered the feedback from your colleague. You're feeling good. You're feeling in control. And then it happens. You're driving, calm, listening to this very audiobook. You're in the flow of traffic. You make a small human error. You drift slightly in your lane. And the car behind you explodes. A 5-second window-rattling horn blast. The driver pulls up beside you, his face a mask of purple rage, screaming words you can't hear but can definitely understand. And in less than a nanosecond, you snap. Before you can think, pause. Before you can find the filter, before you can consider empathy, you are gone. Your heart hammers your ribs, cortisol floods your system, and you scream right back, "What? What is your problem?" The old you, the reactive you, just hijacked the entire system. You drive away, shaking, not from the encounter, but from frustration. Why, you think? I know all the tools. I understand the concepts. Why, in the heat of the moment, did I completely and totally fail? This is the most important chapter in this entire audiobook, because this is the moment most people give up. They mistake a lapse for a relapse. They mistake a habit for a failure of character. They believe that because the old reaction happened, they are broken, or that the new tools don't work. I am here to tell you something liberating. You did not fail. Your reaction was not a choice. It was an inevitability. It was not a failure of your willpower. It was a triumph of your wiring. You didn't fail. Your infrastructure simply won. Let me explain. For your entire life, 20, 30, 40 years, every time you have taken something personally, every time you have reacted with defensiveness, every time you have spun a negative story, you have been doing more than feeling a feeling. You have been physically building a road. Think of your brain as a vast, dense, unexplored jungle. The first time you had a reactive, personalized thought, it was like hacking a tiny path through the undergrowth with a machete. It was hard work. The next time you walked that same path, it was a little easier. The 1,000th time, it was a well-worn footpath. The 1,000,000th time, it is no longer a path. It is a 12-lane, perfectly paved, brightly lit superhighway. The neural pathway for threat to reaction in your brain is the fastest, most efficient, most funded piece of infrastructure in your mind. Your brain, which is ruthlessly efficient, will always send its traffic, your thoughts and emotions, down the path of least resistance. Now, this audiobook, these new tools, the pause and label, the internal locus, the empathy shield. What are these? These are a new path. But right now, that new path is a tiny, muddy, barely visible deer trail deep in the jungle 100 miles away from the highway. So when that driver blasted his horn, a sudden, high-velocity, primal threat, where did your brain send the signal? Did it calmly pull off, consult a map, and look for the new, muddy, inefficient deer trail? No. It sent that signal screaming down the 12-lane superhighway of react. It's not a choice, it's physics. This is why you know what to do, but you can't in the moment. You are trying to will your emotions to teleport from the highway to the footpath. You can't. The only solution is to build a new highway. You have to, with conscious, daily effort, stop paving the old road and start laying asphalt on the new one. You have to upgrade your infrastructure. This is not a metaphor. This is the literal, biological science of neuroplasticity. Neuro refers to your neurons, your brain cells. Plasticity means changeable, moldable. Your brain is not fixed. It is not a static piece of hardware set in stone. It is a dynamic, living, reprogrammable landscape. It is designed to be rewired by your experiences and, crucially, by your conscious thoughts and focus. The famous scientific principle is this: neurons that fire together wire together. When you intentionally activate a new sequence of thoughts, you are physically creating new connections. You are encouraging those neurons to link up. The reverse is also true. Use it or lose it. When you stop using that old 12-lane superhighway, when you stop sending traffic down it, it begins to fall into disrepair. The jungle of your mind, the supportive glial cells, will literally begin to prune and dismantle those unused, old reactive connections. You are, quite literally, a neurological gardener. You can prune the weeds of reactivity and cultivate the pathways of peace. So, how do we do it? The tools in the previous chapters were for the moment of attack. The tools in this chapter are your daily workout. You don't go to the gym only when you're being chased by a bear. You go to the gym every day so that if you are chased by a bear, you are strong and fast. These are your mental reps. You must do these when you are calm so that you are strong when you are stressed. Here is your 3-part daily workout plan for rewiring your brain. It will take, in total, about 10 minutes a day. That's all. Workout 1. The Observer Bicep Curl, Focused Mindfulness. The goal: to strengthen your prefrontal cortex, your CEO, so it can override the amygdala. This is building the pause muscle. The problem it solves: in the moment of attack, your amygdala hijacks you before your rational mind can even wake up. The rep: 5 minutes. I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes. That's it. Sit down, close your eyes, and just breathe. Your mind will wander. This is not a failure. This is the opportunity for the rep. Your only job is this: when you notice your mind has wandered, gently label where it went. In your head, just say planning, or worrying, or remembering, or itch. And then, without judgment, gently bring your focus back to your breath. A second later, it will wander again. Worrying, back to the breath. Planning dinner, back to the breath. What are you doing here? Every time you notice your thoughts and label them, you are disidentifying with them. You are stepping outside of the reaction. You are practicing the fundamental skill of being the observer of your thoughts, not the victim of them. You are, in that instant, strengthening the neural pathways of your prefrontal cortex. You are doing a bicep curl for your brain's CEO. The more you practice this notice and label in the calm of your morning, the faster you will be able to do it in the chaos of an attack. This is how you build the pause and label tool. Workout 2. The New Highway Architect, Scripted Visualization. The goal: to pre-build your new, non-reactive pathway so your brain already knows the route. The problem it solves: your brain takes the old highway because it's the only one it knows. We have to show it the new one. The rep: 3 minutes. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. This is a neurological cheat code. I want you to pick one recurring high-stakes trigger. That driver who yelled at you, Aunt Mary's dinner table insults, your boss's critical, interrupting tone in meetings. Close your eyes and vividly play the movie. Step 1. See the room. Hear your boss's voice. Step 2. Feel the start of the old reaction. Feel the heat in your face. Feel the clench in your stomach. Step 3. Now, imagine yourself doing it differently. Visualize yourself pausing. See yourself take that one conscious breath. Step 4. Visualize yourself using the tool. Imagine labeling it. That's his stress, not my incompetence. Imagine filtering it. Is that useful? No, it's just noise. Step 5. See yourself responding with calm, objective power. I'm going to finish my point, David. Or, I hear your concern. Let's circle back to that. Step 6. Feel the victory of that moment. Feel the cool, clean pride of holding your center. What have you just done? You have just run a dress rehearsal for your brain. You have intentionally fired the neurons for boss's criticism and the neurons for calm, PFC-led response at the same time. You have literally wired them together. You have taken a shovel and dug the first trench for your new highway. Do this every single day, and that trench becomes a road. That road becomes a highway. And one day, in that meeting, your brain will take that new, efficient path automatically. Workout 3. The Negativity Bias Antidote Evidence Journaling. The goal: to defund the old highway by disproving its core assumption that the world is hostile. The problem it solves: your brain is addicted to the old highway because of the negativity bias. It thinks it needs it to survive. We have to prove to it that it is safe. The rep, 2 minutes. Before you go to bed, take out a notebook. I call this the evidence ledger. You will write 3 quick things. This is not positive thinking. This is data collection. 1. One piece of internal validation. Write down one thing you did today that you control and are proud of. Your column 1 from chapter 4. Example: I stayed focused and finished that report even when I was tired. Why? This proves to your brain that your self-worth is internal, weakening the need for external validation. 2. One piece of objective gratitude. Write down one simple factual thing you are grateful for. Example: my coffee this morning was perfect. My car started. Why? This actively counteracts the negativity bias. It trains your brain to scan for the good, not just the threats. It builds a baseline of safety. 3. One refuted negative story. Write down one time today your brain told you a negative story, a cognitive distortion from chapter 3, that turned out to be false. Example: I thought my partner was mad at me, my story, but they were just stressed about work, the truth. Why? This is the pruning. This is you proving to your brain that its automatic negative stories are liars. You are actively discrediting the old reactive pathway. That's it. 10 minutes a day. The bicep curl, the dress rehearsal, the evidence ledger. This is not a one-and-done fix. This is a practice. This is you, the conscious architect of your own mind. You are not just managing your reactions. You are not coping. You are rebuilding your brain. You are physically dismantling the old, crumbling 12-lane highway of reactivity that has been running your life. And you are paving a new, beautiful, high-speed superhighway of objective, calm, and powerful non-reactivity. One day, very soon, the threat will come. The horn, the email, the comment. And your brain, seeking the path of least resistance, will automatically send that signal down your new highway. And you won't even have to try to be calm. You just will be. That is the promise of neuroplasticity. And it is entirely 100% within your control. Now, you have the full toolkit. You have the in-the-moment defenses, and you have the long-term rewiring plan. It's time to put it all together. It's time to test this new rewired brain in the most difficult arenas of your life: your job, your family, and your most intimate relationships. It's time for the final battle. You're standing at the final door. You've been practicing. You've been doing the work. The pause and label technique works on the stranger in traffic. The feedback filter works on the annoying email. The strategic empathy even works on that difficult colleague. You're feeling a new, quiet confidence. But there's a but in your mind, isn't there? You're thinking, this all sounds great, Gemini, but you haven't met my mother. This is all fine for low-stakes people, but what happens when my partner says that one thing that knows how to break me? What happens when I'm in my performance review and the one person who controls my salary and my promotion is the one criticizing me? I can't just pause and label then, can I? My entire survival is on the line. This is the chapter where we walk into the fire. Welcome to the boss level. Welcome to the high-stakes arenas. This is where the real work is done. Because these arenas, your career, your family, and your romantic relationships, are where the stakes are highest. So let's be clear about why this is so much harder. Why do all your new rational tools seem to evaporate in these moments? First, the stakes are primal. A stranger's disapproval triggers your social threat response, your amygdala. But your partner's disapproval, that triggers a deeper, older alarm. That triggers your abandonment response, your primal fear of losing love. Your boss's criticism, that triggers your survival response. That is your brain screaming, my access to resources, to food and shelter is being threatened. Your parents' guilt trip, that triggers your identity response. That is the oldest, most powerful wiring in your brain, the voice that taught you what good and bad meant in the first place. Second, the wiring is deeper. The neural pathways we talked about, the superhighways, the ones connected to your family and your partner aren't just highways. They are canyons, carved into your brain since you were a child. They are your oldest, fastest, and most automatic emotional programs. When you're in one of these arenas, your amygdala isn't just hijacking your brain. It is staging a full-blown coup. It floods your system with such a high emotional load that it knocks your rational prefrontal cortex, your CEO, completely offline. This is not a flaw in the system. This is the point of the system. These arenas are not your test, they are your gym. This is not where you prove you are fixed, this is where you go to get strong. This is the heavy lifting. This is where you build the real muscle. You have the entire toolkit. You have the pause, the editor, the internal locus, the filter, the empathy shield, the so what, tolerance, and the neuroplasticity plan. Now we are going to learn how to stack these tools in real time. We will walk through the 3 most difficult scenarios you will ever face. Scenario 1, the arena of survival, your career. The battle, the high-stakes performance review. The scene. You walk in. Your boss, Sarah, doesn't smile. She gets right to it. She gives you a meets expectations and skips the praise. Look, she says, your reports are always on time and your output is fine. But I'm going to be blunt. Your executive presence just isn't there. People see you as a doer, not a leader. And frankly, in that last big meeting, you just came across as defensive. The old reaction, the ego death. A searing wave of heat. Your face floods with shame. Personalization. She thinks I'm a failure. She sees me as a fraud. Defensive? I'm never getting promoted. I've hit my ceiling. I'm an imposter. The story, Chapter 3. You're so busy battling this catastrophic story that you prove her right. You say, in a tight, high-pitched defensive voice, "What do you mean defensive? I was just explaining my data. I wasn't being defensive at all." The result? You have just, in real time, confirmed her feedback. You've become the very thing she's critiquing. You've lost. The new strategy, the toolkit stack. Pause and label, Chapter 2. Breathe. Do not speak. You feel the heat. Your internal monologue. Okay, that's the amygdala. That's the not good enough alarm. This is a social threat. My body is in fight mode. I will not fight. Internal locus, Chapter 4. Anchor yourself. My column 1 is full. My reports are always on time. My work is excellent. This is column 2 data. This is her perception. This is not my worth. Feedback filter. Get the geologist's pan. Sift. The mud. The cold delivery. The vague corporate speak executive presence. Discard. This is noise. The gold. People see me as a doer, not a leader. Came across as defensive. This is pure gold. This is a perception gap. This is the key to your next promotion. She has just given you the map. The new script, the professional. You take one more breath. You are no longer a victim. You are a strategist. You look her in the eye calmly. Thank you for that. That's exactly the kind of direct feedback I need to grow. That word defensive is a real blind spot for me, and I appreciate you pointing it out. Now shift to action. To help me build a plan, could you give me a specific example of when you saw that doer versus leader dynamic play out? I want to make sure I understand. The payoff. You have just completely changed the power dynamic. You are no longer the child being scolded. You are the partner, collaborating on your own success. You have just demonstrated exactly what executive presence looks like. Scenario 2. The arena of identity, your family. The battle, the primal guilt trip. The scene. You're on the phone with your father. You share a piece of genuinely good news. Dad, I did it! I finally put a down payment on that small apartment. I'm so excited. His response. A long, heavy sigh. An apartment. And this market. I just hope you know what you're doing. That's a lot of debt. You're not going to be able to save a dime for retirement. I worry about you. It sounds risky. The old reaction, the regression. Instant regression. You are 12 years old again. Your stomach fills with acid. Personalization. He doesn't trust me. He thinks I'm stupid. He thinks I'm an irresponsible child. He never supports me. The hook. Dad, why can't you just be happy for me for once? I did the math. I'm not a kid. You always do this. The result. You are now in a 30-minute, unwinnable argument that ruins your night and poisons your good news. You're hooked, and you let him steal your joy. The new strategy, the toolkit stack. Pause and label. Chapter 2. Breathe. This is the I am a disappointment trigger. This is the oldest wire in my brain. It feels like an attack, but it is a program. Rewriting the story. Chapter 3. Capture the story. My dad thinks I'm a reckless idiot. Challenge. The fact is, my dad is 65 years old. His entire life was defined by a safe company job, a pension, and a deep-seated fear of debt. The fact is, he is an anxious man. Strategic empathy. Chapter 6. Ask the question, what must be going on in his world? This is not an attack. This is a confession. He is not saying, you are bad. He is saying, I am scared. He is projecting his own anxiety. He is projecting his own definition of safety onto you. It has nothing to do with your apartment. The new script, the asymmetrical response. Do not defend. Do not justify your finances. Chapter 6. Refuse to be 12. Validate his feeling, his anxiety, not his verdict, your irresponsibility. You're right, Dad. It's a big step, and the market is crazy. I can tell you're worried, and I appreciate that you care so much about my future. Don't worry. I ran all the numbers. It's solid. So, anyway, how's your golf game? The payoff. The bomb is diffused. You refused the invitation to the argument. You stayed the adult in the room. You heard his confession of fear, and you didn't react to his projection of judgment. Your good news is still yours. You are free. Scenario 3. The arena of love. Your relationship. The battle. The you always. Attack. The scene. You get home. You're tired. You left your coffee cup from this morning on the counter. Your partner sees it. Their face tightens. I can't believe this. You always do this. You know I hate it when the counter is a mess. It's like you don't even respect me. It's like I don't even matter. The old reaction, the mirror neuron war. Instant hijack. They attacked, so you must defend. Personalization. I'm a bad partner. I'm disrespectful. The mirror. Chapter 6. Their anger triggers your anger. What are you talking about always? It's one cup. You left your shoes in the hallway all week. You don't respect me. You're controlling. The result. You are now in a 3-hour scorched earth kitchen sink argument about everything, except the coffee cup. The issue is unresolved, and you both go to bed angry and wounded. The new strategy. The toolkit stack. Pause and label. Chapter 2. Breathe. This is the I am a failure as a partner trigger. My mirror neurons are firing. I want to attack back. I will not. Strategic empathy. Chapter 6. This is the most important tool here. Listen to the music, not the lyrics. The lyrics are, you always. You don't respect me. What is the music? What is the confession underneath? I don't matter is the real pain. This is not an attack. This is a desperate plea. This is your partner saying, I'm feeling unseen. I'm feeling taken for granted. I am feeling scared that I am not important to you. The new script, the de-escalation. Do not defend the coffee cup. The coffee cup is irrelevant. Speak directly to the confession. You must provide the asymmetrical response. You physically stop. You turn to them. You make eye contact. You soften your voice. Hey, you're right. I forgot the cup. And I'm hearing you. This isn't about the cup, is it? This is about you feeling like you don't matter. Pause. Let that land. I'm so sorry. I was rushed and I wasn't thinking. The last thing I want is for you to feel like you don't matter. You are the most important thing to me. I'll clean it up right now. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. The payoff. Watch the anger vanish from their face. It will be replaced by shock and then by relief. You have just de-escalated a nuclear war in 10 seconds. You refused to fight about the weapon, the coffee cup, and instead you healed the wound. I don't matter. This is how you build unbreakable intimacy. These are the arenas. This is your work. It will not be perfect. You will get hooked again by your mother. You will snap back at your partner. Remember Chapter 8. A lapse is not a relapse. Every time you fail and your old highway fires, it is not a failure. It is an opportunity for data. Ah, that's where the wiring is still strongest. I need to run that visualization rep tonight. Every single time you try, even if you only manage to pause for half a second, you are building the new road. This is the work. This is the practice. You have all the tools. You have faced the hijack, the storyteller, the external judge, the attacker, the fear, the old wiring, and now the final bosses. There is only one thing left to do, and that is to step out of the prison for good and experience the profound, radical freedom that is waiting for you on the other side. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Feel your feet on the floor. Listen to the sound of my voice. And in this quiet, present moment, I want you to ask yourself one question. What are you going to do with all of your energy? Think about it. All of that emotional wattage you used to spend every single day, leaking and hemorrhaging and wasting. The energy you spent dreading that meeting. The energy you spent replaying that awkward conversation. The energy you spent mind-reading the motives of your partner. The energy you spent catastrophizing a one-line email. The energy you spent defending your ego, bracing for the next attack, fearing the judgment of strangers. Where has it gone? It hasn't gone anywhere. You've just reclaimed it. You have unplugged the dozens of silent, energy-sucking machines that were running in the background of your mind. The result is a profound surplus of power. You are, perhaps for the first time in your adult life, operating at 100% capacity. This is the freedom of objectivity, and this is the new life you have built. I want you to take a moment and travel back with me. I want you to remember, with genuine compassion, the person you were when you pressed play on Chapter 1 of this audiobook. Do you remember? That person was a puppet. That person's mood, their sense of self-worth, their very peace was attached to strings. And everyone they met, their boss, their partner, their family, a stranger on the internet, was given a string to pull. A critical comment? Pull, you're defensive. A missed invitation? Pull, you're rejected. A vague text? Pull, you're anxious. A lukewarm reception? Pull, you're a failure. That person lived in a state of chronic, exhausting reactivity. That person was living inside an invisible prison, and the bars were forged from the false belief that everything that happened around them was happening about them. That life was so small. It was so fragile. It was lived in a constant defensive crouch, braced for the next inevitable blow. That person was marinating in their own cortisol, wired but tired, running ancient, broken software that mistook every opinion for a predator. That person believed they were sensitive and aware, but in reality, they were just wounded. They were so wrapped up in their own defensive story that they couldn't truly connect with the world around them. They were trapped inside their own ego. I want you to take a good, long, compassionate look at that person. See their exhaustion, see their fragility, see their fear. And I want you to thank them. Thank them for their sensitivity. Thank them for protecting you. And thank them for having the courage to seek a better way. Because they are the person who brought you here. And now, I want you to let that person go. Because that person is no longer you. You are not the same. You have done the work. You have not just learned, you have rewired. Let's look at your new life. Let's look at the you that is sitting here right now. Tomorrow, you will get that email. The one from your boss that just says, "I need to see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Close the door." The old you would have had their stomach drop. The old you would have had their night ruined. The new you will see the email, you will register it, and your first automatic default thought forged by your new neural pathways will be, okay. You will put it on your calendar, and you will go back to your work. That's it. It won't be a struggle. You won't have to try to be calm. You won't have to wrestle with your anxiety. You will just be calm. The alarm will not fire. The storyteller will not invent a catastrophe. The cortisol will not flood. It will just be an email. You have just reclaimed 12 hours of wasted emotional energy. Later that week, you'll be at that family dinner. And Aunt Mary, right on cue, will lob that hand grenade about your little job and your risky life choices. The old you would have been hooked. The mirror neurons would have fired. The 12-year-old child inside you would have come screaming out, ready for a fight. The new you? The new you will hear the words, and you will not, for one single second, personalize them. Your pause and label will fire automatically. Your strategic empathy will come online effortlessly. And you won't hear an attack. You will, with genuine objective clarity, hear a confession. You will hear her fear. You will hear her regret. You will hear her rigid, small, and frightened worldview. And the spear she threw will dissolve into smoke, because it was never aimed at you. You will not feel anger. You will not feel defensiveness. You will feel a quiet, detached compassion. You will smile, you will validate her fear, and you will ask her to pass the potatoes. You have just reclaimed your dignity. You have just refused to be a child. You have just won by refusing to fight. And then the big one. You will finally sit down at your computer, open that folder with your 99% done project, that business plan, that manuscript, that first song. The old you was paralyzed by the poison berry, the fear of that one potential negative comment. The new you? The new you, having practiced voluntary discomfort, having built your internal locus, having vaccinated your ego, you will look at your work. You will anchor yourself in your column 1. The work is good. My effort was honest. I am proud of the process. And then you will take a breath. And you will hit publish. You will hit send. You will hit go. You will feel that familiar jolt of vulnerability, the what if, and you will answer it with your new, calm, bored, and powerful so what? So what if they don't like it? It is not a saber-toothed tiger. It is not death. It is just data. You have just taken your ambition out of its cage. You have just chosen purpose over paralysis. You have just reclaimed your life. This is the freedom of objectivity. It is the freedom from the constant, noisy chatter of your own ego. It is the freedom from the exhausting, endless, unwinnable game of what did they think of me? It is the freedom from the biological lie that another person's opinion has any power over your survival. And this brings us to the most important and most misunderstood part of this entire journey. I know there is a part of you, a small, old part, that has been afraid of this. Afraid that this process, this objectivity, this filtering, this non-reactivity will make you cold. That it will make you distant. That it will make you a robot. That in not taking things personally, you will lose your empathy, your caring, your humanity. This is the final, greatest lie of the reactive ego. Let's tear it down right now. The old you was not empathetic. The old you was needy. The old you was not caring. The old you was transactional. The old you could not truly listen to another person. Why? Because you were too busy. You were too busy filtering their words through your own defensive system. You were too busy asking, what does this mean for me? Are they judging me? Are they mad at me? What do they want from me? How do I fix this to make my anxiety go away? That is not empathy. That is self-defense. You were trapped in a fortress. And yes, you were safe, but you were also completely, utterly alone. The new you, the objective you have no fortress. You don't need one. You have a filter. You are no longer braced for attack. So you can finally open up. You are no longer filtering for your own ego. So you can finally, truly listen. You are no longer hijacked by your own projections. So you can finally see the person in front of you. Now, when your partner comes home, stressed and snaps about a coffee cup, you are not a combatant. You are a healer. You can hear the real pain underneath the attack. You can hear the "I don't feel seen," and you can speak directly to that, not to the coffee cup. This is true intimacy. Now, when your colleague is arrogant or your friend is distant, you are not a victim. You are a detective. You can ask, what must be going on in their world? You can get curious instead of furious. This is true compassion. Now, when you meet someone new, you are not needy. You are warm. You are not projecting a "please like me" field of anxiety. You are projecting a calm, stable field of presence. You are not asking them to validate you. You are simply discovering them. This is true connection. The power of not taking things personally is not the power to be cold. It is the power to be so internally secure, so self-validated, and so anchored in your own worth that you can finally afford to be radically, genuinely, and fearlessly warm. You can finally engage with the messy, beautiful, and often difficult world, not with a flinch, but with a smile. Not with a shield, but with an open hand. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of unbreakable confidence. This is your new life. It is not a destination. You will not be cured. You will get hooked again. That 12-lane superhighway of your old self is still there. It's just overgrown. You will have days where you snap, where you spiral, where you let Aunt Mary get to you. But a lapse is not a relapse. It is not a failure. It is simply a reminder. A reminder to practice. A reminder to do your reps. A reminder to get back to your gardener's work, pruning the weeds and tending the new garden. You are not fixed. You are a work in progress, and that is the joy of it. You came to this audiobook looking for a key to get out of the invisible prison of your own reactions. And I have given you that key. I have given you the pause, the editor, the internal locus, the filter, the empathy shield, the so what shield, and the rewiring plan. But you did the work. You turned the key. And you are standing right now outside the prison gates. You are not the puppet. You are not the prisoner. You are not the victim of the world. You are the objective observer. You are the calm architect. You are the master of your own mind. You are finally and completely free.